right, let's take you around the NFL with the breaking news yesterday. 80 days into the offseason, the drama king, that's an insult to women, finally has made his decision. Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler. And RJ Choppy, you said we get to now monitor another coach and his power.
Come back with a bowl.
So, obviously, Mike Tomlin is the GOAT of probably motivation in today's NFL. I don't think there's a better motivating coach in the National Football League today than Mike Tomlin. There's no other reason why his very mid Steeler teams are constantly 9-8 or better.
Because culture matters.
He's such a motivating force.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's going to be kind of tested because his authority is going to be tested. His coaching patience is going to be tested because Rodgers will say probably the right things at the start, and then he'll just eventually do his own thing because that's what Aaron Rodgers does. And this is without a doubt probably their best option at quarterback over Mason Rudolph, over anybody else they want to bring out there. So from an actual
would you rather have Rodgers or Cousins?
Rodgers.
Because of the injury?
Cousins didn't look like he could play college football after that. Remember after that Cowboys game, what was it? He went no touchdowns, 10 interceptions over his next 3 games. He just looked broken.
But because of the injury?
No, because he had played even better earlier in the year. It just looked like by the end of the year, something had broken with him. I don't know.
Tom Pelissero reports that Rodgers will fly to Pittsburgh today and sign before next week's minicamp. So I don't know what the Pittsburgh airport looks like. Zach Wilczuk would know, but everyone will be on the ground, I'm sure, with all the video recorders waiting for Rodgers to walk into the facility just like he did last year or 2 years ago with the Jets. So he's 41. He's going to play his 21st NFL season, and Pelissero reports contract parameters had been in place. He told teams publicly he would play for $20 million, and they need to finalize the contract. So I'm assuming, although it's dangerous with him, Aaron Rodgers is going in there for $20 million.
Okay. I mean, that's surprising that it's that low. You know, it's surprising that it's that low. He's got them by the you-know-what. And they have him, too, because if he wants to play, this is like the last option. But he really has them because their options are him or Mason Rudolph.
I don't think he's going to be a pain in the ass this time. Because, I think when we read that article from The Athletic that detailed all the ways the Jets were just a mess, and he was like, we can't even give a game ball away properly in the locker room without this kid coming in here, snatching it and going, hey, yeah. So, I think Rodgers probably went out of there, and it was a little bit sobering to just go, honestly, kind of the thing McCarthy dealt with. It's different than Green Bay. It is not the same everywhere else. And Pittsburgh kind of is AFC Green Bay. And so I think he's probably longing for, let me get back to that kind of an environment.
Give us your homework. We're going to reverse bodies today and minds.
Yeah.
Give us your homework on why you think this could work.
I wanted to look. First off, I pulled up his numbers yesterday. His numbers were a lot better than I remembered that they were last year. So he was 28 touchdowns, 11 picks, 6.7 yards per attempt. I thought all those numbers were worse than that last year.
Same.
It's not top tier, but it's not the worst at all. You can win with somebody playing like that. In fact, so I looked it up. The times that a Pittsburgh quarterback has gotten at least 28 touchdowns, 11 or fewer interceptions, and 6.7 yards per attempt, it's happened one time in their entire franchise history. It was Ben Roethlisberger in 2014. That's it. Wow. So, this is, if they get that level of play that he showed with the Jets last year, that's as good of quarterback play statistically as they've gotten in a while. So, if you break it down to just the final 10 games and look at the last 10 games of the season, so give him 7 weeks to adjust, coming off of the Achilles, everything else. Over that time, he threw 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His passer rating was 97. All of those numbers were top 10 in the NFL during that time. In fact, over the last 10 games of the season, which is the majority of the schedule, that's first 7 versus 10, he had more touchdown passes, fewer interceptions, a higher completion percentage, and a higher passer rating than Josh Allen, who won the league MVP.
Wow.
And that was over the majority of the season. So the fact that he puts up all these numbers in an absolutely awful situation with the Jets, and
It wasn't an awful situation personnel-wise.
Oh, no, I don't mean personnel-wise. I mean just everything that went with the Jets.
Well, how much do I blame him? It's one man versus a short time period, 1 year while you're out. He was supposed to be a culture fixer. He was supposed to be someone to go in there and wipe out and clean out all that crap that they had. He couldn't even get along with Garrett Wilson.
Right. Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it.
But weapon-wise, no excuse for them to be as bad as they were because they tried to load up for him.
They had weapons on offense, and they had a really good defense. Like, there was no reason. They had names. I mean, they had names on both sides of the ball. There was no reason for that.
It's a little, though, like what we're learning with the Jets. It's a little like in years past when it didn't matter if Cleveland had talent. It didn't matter if Washington had talent. Like, they were such a broken organization, it wasn't going to work. And the stuff that was written about Woody Johnson and just how involved and insane he seems to be. Like, yeah, what we learned was Aaron Rodgers can't fix a culture. And so he needs to be in the right culture. He's definitely not the leader or the tone setter. But what I think we also learned was I don't know how much of a shot he had culture-wise for that to work with the way Woody Johnson is. I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers fan at this stage. Like, I don't think he's great anymore, obviously, but I at least
over under 9.5 wins.
Over.
Okay. Here's what Vegas thinks. Odds before Rodgers signing to win the Super Bowl, 45-1. Odds now 40-1. Odds to win the conference before, 22-1. Now 20-1. To win the AFC North before, 5-1. It's still 5-1. And then to make the playoffs, yes, before the signing, yes, they'll make the playoffs was plus 160. No, minus 200, RJ. Now it's yes, plus 145. No, minus 175. The win total remains at over under 8.5. But the juice for the under moved from minus 140 to minus 135. So some improvement. Okay. People thinking they will be slightly better.
All right, so here's their schedule real quick. Jets, Seattle, Patriots.
Nice.
All right.
Nice to start.
Mini, Cleveland, Bengals, Packers, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, Ravens.
Where is that Green Bay game?
Home.
Okay.
Night game. October 26th, night game. It's
that would have been fun. Mm-hmm. That's a chance for all the networks, and Stephen A. can't keep track of what fan he is of who.
Stephen A. is Pittsburgh.
Like Dallas, there's a chance there for a nice start at 3-1 or something like that. If I remember that correctly,
there is Jets, Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings. 2 at home, 2 on the road. They got the Browns too. So I mean, look, they theoretically could be 4-1 going into the game against Cincinnati on the road, and then you've got Green Bay right after that. I mean, so it could set up really like a nice start. They got a brutal end. They got Buffalo, they got Detroit, they got Baltimore twice in the last 6 weeks.
So
that's tough end.
So Vegas has as the favorite under 8.5. That's minus 135. You said, okay. So again, when we talk about Tomlin and just following history, if that's the favorite, if that hits, that means Vegas is saying we think something's going to happen with Pittsburgh that has not happened in 18 years, which is Mike Tomlin finishing below 500. That has never happened in his career coaching for the Steelers. So to me, it's Pittsburgh is automatic bare minimum 8-8, or 9-8 or whatever it is now. They're a minimum of that. So I think saying 9-10 wins, that's a pretty good bet.